And they're out. Fraser City Council kicks out the mayor and a city councilman over allegations of inappropriate touching and vulgar behavior, but it's not over.
Golf course confrontation.
I'm thinking at the point, if everybody's going to get shot, it's going to be me.
The man who says he was threatened with a gun over beer cans tells his side of the story.
Hurricane Maria, now a Category 5 storm. We're tracking her latest path.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
It's been building for months. Animosity in Fraser between elected officials, and tonight, Fraser City Council voted to throw Mayor Joe Nichols and Councilman Matt Himmelberg out of office.
They're out over allegations of inappropriate shoulder massages to female city employees, as well as comments that were sexual in nature. Mara McDonald is live at Fraser City Hall. And Mara, removal of an elected official is serious business here.
It is, Kimberly, and usually something only done by a sitting governor and only in the most extreme of circumstances. Think Kwame Kilpatrick. Tonight, Fraser City Council opted to take matters into their own hands, but will it survive a legal challenge?
It was a kangaroo court. The reality is in there that we didn't get due process.
Mayor Joe Nichols and Councilman Matt Himmelberg exiting Fraser City Hall tonight after their colleagues voted to throw them out of office. At issue, their supposed frat boy-like behavior and inappropriate touching of female Fraser City employees.
I saw Mr. Himmelberg massaging the shoulders of the librarian.
City manager Wayne O'Neill is the one who kick-started the investigation after viewing what he says was inappropriate behavior on the part of the two back in January of this year. There had been no sexual harassment complaints filed against either man. The city brought in an outside attorney to conduct an investigation and got an earful from several female employees like Leah Brown, who told the tribunal of this encounter with Nichols.
He began a conversation about how not everyone can wear leggings, but I could, and he started to describe, that animal that walks through the sand that has a toe of a certain shape, and I said, you mean a camel toe?
The two employees with the most complaints against the now former mayor and councilman did not show up to the tribunal Fraser City Council held tonight, and while the council's vote may be over, the legal wrangling is not.
In here, you got a majority that has been against us since we were elected, that made up their own rules tonight, because again, as I told you, Simon and Mara, several times before, when the vote doesn't go their way, they're only concerned when it's electing them to office.
Back here live, Nichols says legal challenge is on the way. What form that takes, whether it is at Macomb Circuit or federal, that remains to be seen. We're live in Fraser tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah, what a night. All right, Mara. Kim?
Well, it is a talk of the town today. A golf course argument over beer cans erupting in gunfire Saturday afternoon in Springfield Township. The family in the middle of it all called us tonight wanting to set the record straight. Jason Colthorpe is live with the story. Jason, you talked to the husband and the wife who fought to get the gun away from the employee.
This is crazy, Kimberly. I mean, this West Bloomfield family says they didn't knowingly break any course rules, certainly not bringing their own beer onto the course or leaving cans everywhere. What happened is they bought beer while they were there, and one family member wanted to take the empties with them. They say that's what set off this course employee who had a gun.
It's the last thing I expected to happen on a golf course.
It was the Golding family outing Saturday at Heather Highlands, a course where they have many good memories. The group of about 36 golfers had breakfast and lunch and say they bought their beer at the course. Everything was fine until the round was over.
I'm clearing up my cart. Here comes this outraged man and the outraged owner screaming at me and videotaping me. And I said, what are you doing? They said I was stealing their property.
Property meaning empty cans. And as things escalated, Carl came over and immediately noticed the employee had a gun in his waistband.
Philosophy is if you got one, if you're going to pull it, use it. Figure you call the guy's bluff. Well, I probably messed up there because he did. He ended up taking a shot.
At that point, both Carl and Stephanie had the same instinct.
I'm thinking at the point, if everybody's going to get shot, it's going to be me.
I'm thinking shoot me first.
It's not going to be my wife. It's not going to be my kids.
Save my husband. Save my family. My daughter's behind me. My husband's behind me.
That's when the struggle for the gun began, and something incredibly fortunate happened.
I physically was standing right in front of him, watching him multiple times, tried to pull the trigger and shoot my husband in the gut.
I believe it jammed up on him.
Looking back, the Goldings find it hard to believe no one was killed.
I keep thinking that over and over. He almost lost his life over a 10-cent can.
10-cent cans. Eventually, the 45-year-old Coors employee was taken to the ground, the gun taken away. Police showed up. He does have some injuries because of that takedown. Crazy few moments there. He's under arrest and charged with felonious assault with a weapon. The family would like some more serious charges than that. I called the Coors tonight. They deferred me to the lawyer, who is simply saying they are cooperating with police. We're in West Bloomfield tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Just a really bizarre situation, Jason. Though she mentioned that she was being videotaped, or there was a tape of some sort. Where is that tape tonight?
We don't know if police have that yet. She also noticed security cameras at the course, and the family says they hope police get a look at this video. They hope there's video. They hope this was on tape to see exactly how this went down. They just want their side of it out there. They believe they were completely in the right on this, and just this escalated over something very benign. By the way, of course, the family not holding the family outings there anymore.
Yeah,
Back
don't
to you.
blame them. Okay, Jason, we appreciate it. Well, it took over a day, but Maria has blown up from a tropical storm into a major Category 5 hurricane.
Now threatening Puerto Rico and the rest of the Caribbean. Still, of course, reeling from Hurricane Irma. Andrew is tracking Maria's path. Went to a 5 tonight, Andrew.
That's right, Kimberly and Devin. We chatted about this at 5 and then at 6 o'clock this evening. Maria turning into a Category 5, and it has happened. Leah's still out there, fortunately not strengthening. Only winds now at 30 miles per hour. If anything, it's dissipating. Jose's still off the coast of the United States. Let's take a closer look at Maria, shall we? You can already see, even from this distance, a well-defined eye, and it is simply pounding the Lesser Antilles, including the island of Dominica. It's moving to the west-northwest at 9 miles per hour. Those islands are so small. The main influence, the warm waters of the Caribbean. So it stays at Category 5 status as it races toward Puerto Rico, possibly affecting that island late Tuesday into early Wednesday, and moving farther to the north and west toward the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, possibly taking a turn farther to the north before it gets closer to the United States by the end of this week. But as we know from Irma, this track can change, so we'll be following it over the next coming days. We're also following our local weather. I've got our local forecast in just minutes.
Okay, Andrew, a man convicted of murder at the age of 12 is celebrating his 21st birthday and his freedom tonight.
2009, DeMarco Harris was convicted of the murder of Tricia Babcock. He was sentenced to life, but the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the life sentence is unconstitutional for a juvenile. Last week, a judge decided Harris is no longer a threat. He was released today.
An Auburn Hills man is charged with driving drunk and leading police on a high-speed chase in Lake Orion. Happened Saturday just before 2 a.m. Police say Noah Artelin was driving at least 50 miles per hour in a 35. When an officer tried pulling him over, he sped up and drove off. The officer gave chase, clocking him at more than 110 miles per hour. Police eventually caught up to him where he failed sobriety test. Later, he blew a .23. Artelin is charged with fleeing a police officer and his third offense of driving while intoxicated. He's due back in court next month.
Mexico's former president Vicente Fox in Detroit tonight, making an appearance at Wayne State University. He was the keynote speaker for the Forum on Contemporary Issues in Society. During his talk, he touched on what he says are the benefits of a strong relationship between the U.S. and Mexico.
The plan is not to take away jobs from this nation. On the contrary, is to be a solid partner of this nation. And this is where NAFTA comes to being.
NAFTA and talk of renegotiating the agreement has been a big topic of discussion. Before the address, Fox, of course, has been very critical of President Trump, criticized him again, accusing him of being confrontational and, as he put it, offensive to other world leaders. It is a prank gone terribly wrong. What one man pulled on his 6-year-old daughter that got him arrested.
Shocking video shows a deadly bus collision in New York City, how fast the bus was going before crashing into the other.
But first, a case of adult cyberbullying breaks the internet barrier and turns into real-life threats.
It's time we enact a law that stops this and makes it criminal.
How this local family is fighting back and what's being done to stop it. Adult bullying. This local woman says it's happening to her.
So bullying is okay for me, and to threaten my life, my family.
The threats have moved from online to in person.
Please just stop this. Shut it down.
Can anything be done to put an end to it? The alleged cyberbullying has led to a number of police reports and investigations in Macomb County, but after all that, no criminal charges.
The ongoing feud involved a reality TV star and some prominent Macomb County residents. Prosecutors say there are no laws to put an end to the feud. Defender Kevin Dietz shows us how one side is pushing for politicians, though, to put some teeth into cyberbullying laws.
Kalud Bojanowski is no stranger to drama. Over the years, the Macomb County wife and mother has been on numerous reality TV shows, almost always portrayed as a negative character who's obnoxiously outspoken. The Bojanowskis say it's a character she plays. It's not who she really is.
I did Dr. Phil. I did Mama's Boys with Ryan Seacrest. I mean, I did A&E, you know, stuff like that. But that's TV. That has nothing to do with me personally.
But as a result of her 15 minutes of fame, the Bojanowskis now say they are under attack from unknown, unidentified cyberbullies.
This is hiding all behind this computer, and they know me, but I don't know them.
Who they say taunt them on Facebook.
They were actually slandering me. I'm a racist. I'm a reality queen. I talk about, they're slandering, I'm crazy, you know, all that stuff.
Her husband, Jerry, tried to step in and put a stop to it.
Please just stop this. Shut it down, okay?
Then someone approached his wife while she was at the park with their granddaughter.
Female jogger approached me and my 2-year-old granddaughter saying, are you Kalud? And I said, who are you? And then she says, well, you need to watch your back.
They called the Macomb County Sheriff's Department.
My wife called the Sheriff's Department. They came to the house. 2 deputies took a police report.
But the bullying got worse.
The day after that report was made, even more violent threats against us. Okay, so it seems like every single time we get law enforcement involved or law enforcement goes cold, these people feel emboldened.
Recently, a public post was made asking if anyone knew the Bojanowskis' home address.
Why would they look for our address? I'm sure they didn't have any good meetings. You know, you were on reality TV insinuating that you deserve it or too bad, it comes with the territory. Well, that doesn't really address the criminality or them searching for our address openly and wanting to post that. So potentially enticing people to do bad things against us.
That's scary.
If that's not criminal, it absolutely should be.
The Sheriff's Department tells me they investigated the incidents and presented the case to the prosecutor, but there was insufficient evidence an actual crime was committed. It also turns out several people in Macomb County have filed police reports against Kalud Bojanowski for cyberbullying herself, even going so far as to have a cease and desist order issued against her. Kalud Bojanowski has also not been charged criminally. Her husband says when both sides feel bullied and the law says its hands are tied, it's time to write new laws.
Our eyes are open to the effects of cyberbullying, okay? We are in the process of setting up a national organization to criminalize cyberbullying across the board.
Before the cyberbullying escalates into real-life violence.
It's something that has to be done, okay? Or things are going to continue to get worse, and people across this country's lives are going to be ruined.
The family recently had an encouraging meeting with a local elected official, but so far no one has stepped up to introduce new bullying legislation in Michigan. Kevin Dietz, Defenders.
All right, Kevin. Here's a look at what Hank Winchester is working on for tomorrow night.
It's the massive hack affecting millions, jeopardizing the safety of your personal information.
143 million have been affected by this hack. That's half of the country.
Equifax under fire and consumers under attack by cyber criminals.
I think the Equifax hack is just a symptom of a much greater problem.
Now I'm gathering a team of experts to show you exactly what you should be doing right now to protect yourself and your credit. Help Me Hank tomorrow at 11.
You know, we're in our last full week of summer.
Yeah, but it's been nice that we've had, you know, pretty good weather to end it, you know?
Yeah, that's right. But hey, Mother Nature doesn't really pay attention to doesn't pay attention to the calendar all the time.
Does her own thing.
I know. Well, it feels cooler tonight, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But not paying attention to the calendar, as you know, that can be a good thing. And I'll talk about that in the 7-day forecast. For tonight, it becomes cooler. Not uncomfortably cool, though. You can still go ahead and sleep with the windows up. Why not do it safely? Temperatures will be in the 50s and low 60s. Low 60s mostly here in the metro zone. You got that heat island effect going on. We still have the quilt of clouds overhead, too. So between 60 and 65 here in the metro zone, including Detroit. South of I-94, same sort of deal. Temperatures down between 62 and 65 degrees from Monroe over to Lenawee counties. And temperatures also in the low 60s in our west zone. North of Hall Road, if you're in the north zone, chances are temperatures will be very uniform. Some temperatures may be in the upper 50s, but with the clouds overhead, I think that tends to moderate things. I think we'll see mostly 60 degrees or give or take a few as we go into the overnight hours. 67 degrees and looking good here in downtown Detroit. We talked about Maria just about a few minutes ago. Jose is still spinning away, not really keeping its characteristics, tropical characteristics, but still a Category 1 hurricane with winds of 75 miles per hour. Fortunately, not making landfall, but certainly churning up the surf up and down the eastern seaboard from New York, also New England, all the way down to the Carolinas. And as it gets, as we go into later this week, it'll weaken into a tropical storm, but still provide at least heavy surf along the eastern seaboard up in the northeast, and maybe even cloudier skies. Cape Cod and areas like that may see some higher winds, even some rain before all is said and done later this week. Around here, temperatures go back into the 80s as we head toward this coming weekend. And right now it's in the cool 50s and 60s already, with 65 for our friends over in Ferndale, already in the upper 50s in Lapeer, temperatures in the low 60s in Monroe. And thank goodness the rain that we had earlier today, all of that has faded away and moved off to the east. But as the wider picture shows, there's still some instability that is yet to move through. Even after this cold front moves through, you can see showers that start to build to our west back toward Chicago. Not for us tomorrow morning, but as you can see, in tomorrow afternoon, we might see a few more scattered showers before warmer air and more stable air returns as we get into the end of this week. So temperatures way above normal by this coming weekend. Even though fall begins, we'd love to have it feel like it's summertime still. So we still might see a shower or two, but if it does occur, I think it fades away. Temperatures down to about 65 degrees overnight. Temperatures will be in the 70s tomorrow, around 78 degrees for a high, and a chance of on and off showers once again. Not all day, just occasionally, especially in the afternoon. Then, as we get into Wednesday, 82 for a high. That's the day of Rosh Hashanah. Yep. Sunset is at 7:35. And look at that, first day of fall. It begins in the afternoon on Friday, but 85 for a high. Yeah. And by this coming weekend, temperatures still in the 80s.
What a stretch, as it has been. Right?
Thanks, Andrew. It is that time of year, pumpkin spice. Speaking of fall,
yes.
Everything, everywhere. Is it more than just a seasonal fad? One expert explains why it might be an addiction.
Okay, and new information tonight in a deadly bus collision in New York. Why speed is believed to have been a factor. We'll be right back.
A Livonia mother has been charged with manslaughter in the death of her infant son. The child died back in December, but after months of investigation, 32-year-old Leslie Newman was formally charged today. She was charged with involuntary manslaughter and second-degree child abuse.
Neighbors in Royal Oak are on high alert after several acts of vandalism occurred over the weekend. Police were called after neighbors found a swastika and the phrase "White Power" spray painted onto a garage. At least 6 other residents filed police reports. If you've got any information about what happened, contact Royal Oak Police.
Good news on the billion-dollar I-75 project in Oakland Township. The plans to rebuild and widen I-75 to 4 lanes from Ferndale to Pontiac will now be completed by the year 2022. Sounds like a long time, but that's 10 years earlier than originally planned.
A scary new video tonight out of New York. Security video showing a charter bus slamming into a New York City bus. It happened early this morning in Queens. You see the impact push the charter bus into the side of a restaurant. A pedestrian and a passenger on the city bus were killed, as well as the driver of the charter bus. 16 others had to be taken to local hospitals for injuries. The charter bus speedometer was photographed at the scene, stuck at 60 miles an hour, twice the speed limit there. Actual cause of the crash still under investigation.
Two men in Ohio are behind bars tonight after a prank with a clown mask goes wrong. Police say that a father was charged with child endangerment and inducing panic after he reportedly used a clown mask to scare a 6-year-old daughter. She ran to a neighbor and called 911 after she said a clown was chasing her. The neighbor told police that he saw a man in a clown mask and fired off a gunshot. He was arrested for operating a firearm while intoxicated. The father was not hit.
Fall is officially a few days away, but pumpkin spice has already invaded our lives. Apparently, the more you have it, the more you crave it. According to an assistant professor of psychology, the taste and smell trigger an emotional response in our brains, creating something akin to an addiction. If you're not a fan of pumpkin spice, don't worry, just a few more months, and then eggnog takes over, which may work the same way.
Well, I think all sugar, right? Anything with sugar.
That's the key.
It's Skittles for me, or
sugar,
gummy bears, or Bernie's coming up with sports. Stay with us.